Kylian Mbappe's time at Real Madrid so far has been scary, but for all the wrong reasons.
Have you done that type of movement all your life? Or was you taught this by somebody?
Yeah. But we work at the training as well. I have some natural movement, but also in training we work some movement because I play with few players who love to have the ball. Messi and Neymar love to have the ball in the feet. And me, I'm the player who I can go.
It seems like he sold Real Madrid a dream with this one, because anyone who watched El Clasico knows Kylian Mbappe looked off.
Slips that one through to Kylian Mbappe. The first chance over the goalkeeper into the back of the net. And Kylian Mbappe marks his first Clasico with a goal.
He was caught offside 8 times. Even Alvaro Morata hasn't been caught offside that much, and he's the king of offsides. All of this just made me ask the question, just how bad is Kylian Mbappe at Real Madrid? An elite player at an elite club? That's what the signing promised. See, for years, Real Madrid has been chasing Mbappe, and after he snubbed them twice, he finally signed for them in the summer. On paper, Mbappe's move to Madrid was supposed to form an all-star attack, like the type no one had ever seen before. He, Vinicius Junior, and Rodrigo down the wing? The expectation was that Real Madrid would blow everyone away, and Kylian Mbappe would play a leading role in that. But so far, it hasn't turned out like that. Mbappe and Real Madrid have struggled. Mbappe fell short, and El Clasico was the crowning moment. It's not to say he's been a complete disaster, or the goal on his competitive debut for Madrid in the UEFA Super Cup versus Atalanta. But the good moments for Mbappe have been few and far between. He's struggling at Madrid. Just going through his numbers again in his last season at PSG, and Mbappe was unstoppable. Had he been present at the Ballon d'Or award a few weeks back, he'd have been picking up an award. He finished the 2023-24 season with the joint most goals in Europe with 52. That's ridiculous. With numbers like that, it's easy to see why Real Madrid players and fans alike expected Mbappe to come into the team and get off the bat straight off. But as we've said, it hasn't worked out like that. The signs started creeping in after his first 3 league games. Play. Now we know there's a problem. The question is why? Why does Mbappe suit him?
I see him play in front.
Okay.
And the attack is quite wide. The pitch is 68 meters.
Yeah.
And we have to cover this 68 meters with the players in front. That can be Vinicius. Because if I ask you where Vinicius played last season.
When you think about it, Carlo Ancelotti's answer might just have explained the Mbappe situation at this club and his perceived struggles. See, it seems Real Madrid was so caught in the saga of trying to sign him, and successfully doing so, that the club didn't think about where he was going to play or how he'd fit in. There is the argument that he started as a centre-forward or a number 9 during his AS Bondy and Monaco youth team days, but when he actually burst onto the scene and started hitting it big, Mbappe did so playing the majority of his games on the left wing. At the 2018 World Cup, we also saw glimpses of him down the right, and to full effect too. That run still gives me chills. However, at Real Madrid, it's a problem. Mbappe's preferred position at his new club would have been down the left, except with the form Vinicius Junior was in last season, the season before, and generally ever since Carlo Ancelotti came back in 2021, there's no way he's getting out that left wing spot, and it's been a case of trying to fit Mbappe into a position that he's not exactly accustomed to. Is Kylian Mbappe a typical number 9 in the sense? Well, the answer is no. When you think of typical number 9s in the game now, the likes of Erling Haaland and Victor Gyökeres, these are players who have mastered the art of beating the last man in that position, checking the shoulder before making the run, and trying to stay onside as much as possible. Not the same with Mbappe. As he said in the earlier interview with Rio Ferdinand, Mbappe relies on his speed and dribbling ability to get past the opponents, different from what Real Madrid is used to. Before Mbappe, it was Karim Benzema. For years down that number 9 position, and even after he left, Joselu came in and did a job in there. But we're only highlighting the two because there's something to point out. Both are physical enough to hold the ball up for others to come into play, and that's an area of Mbappe's game he just seems to lack. More often than not, Mbappe is always looking to come in off the shoulder or make well.
То есть лидеры сумеют сделать их лучше. А впрочем, на самом деле, вы знаете, настало время еще одного гола.
Both players relied heavily on speed and dribbling ability to get past the opposition. Still, on the tactical setup, it seems Mbappe's arrival is Clasico. Fast forward to 1 year later, and he's without a goal for Madrid this season. Now, this isn't entirely to blame Mbappe, because some of the chances Bellingham has missed this season have been gilt-edged ones. But just going back to the tactics, and it seems like Carlo Ancelotti has had to alter a winning formation just to fit Mbappe in. Last season, we saw how dynamic Real Madrid was in attack. They played with a diamond in midfield, where Bellingham acted as the number 10 in that diamond role, between Vinicius and Rodrigo, who played as two auxiliary forwards making channel runs. The dynamism and fluidity of this Real Madrid team made it hard for the opposition to figure them out, and in turn, it allowed Jude Bellingham to unlock a side of his game we hadn't seen before, and that was him scoring goals. This season, Madrid almost played in that 4-3-3 shape, with Bellingham further back from the goal, and his role has changed now. But before I get into the role though, quick heads up, if you haven't subscribed to Football Historia yet, the button is staring at you down below. Bellingham is but the arrival of Mbappe and the change of structure has pushed him away from the goal and taking that aspect of his game back. When Mbappe arrived, he was supposed to be the marquee name, and even believed to become the new face of the club. But so far, it's been a familiar name grabbing the headlines. Vinicius Junior. And it's safe he's still playing the way we expect him to, scoring goals and taking on opponents, where Mbappe has struggled this season. Vinicius is thriving. Not to force the issue or anything, but it kind of feels like Vinicius has been playing with a point to prove ever since Mbappe arrived. Much was made of how the two would potentially get along. I mean, they did play in the same position, and just before he improved his game in the 2021-22 season, the report suggested that Real Madrid was even willing to include Vinicius Junior in a swap deal to try and convince PSG to let Mbappe sign for them. Currently this season, if we're being honest, Real Madrid plays the attack through Vinicius and Rodrigo, down the left and right, more times than they play through the middle with Mbappe. With all that's been said, here's another question. Is it really proper to shoulder all the blame on Mbappe? It's crazy to think how he's only been at this club for 4 months now and we're already doing this. The superstar or not, Mbappe is human, a footballer, and what's happening now just shows how much time human beings need to adapt. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's spent all his life playing league football in France, for AS Monaco and then PSG. He was used to French Liga and became comfortable in there, mastered it. La Liga in Spain? Well, it goes without saying that it's a tougher league. Mbappe hasn't even spent a full season yet at the club. Heck, he hasn't even spent half a season on the team yet. It seems like he needs time. The same way he's getting used to his new teammates, that's the same for Real Madrid. Even in the few international games he's played for France this season, he's struggled. He captained the team to a 3-1 loss to Italy at home, only played 23 minutes in the 2-0 win over Belgium, and quite controversially, he missed the next 2 international games against Israel and Belgium after reports got out that he had stated that he only wanted to prioritise big international fixtures so he could improve his chances of winning the Ballon d'Or. Mbappe has been making the headlines for the wrong reasons. His poor form at Real Madrid, the lack of improvement in the team's general play, and now this with France? He just can't catch a break. Stat-wise, he's been more than decent. Or actually, has he? The graph explains it. Since his debut season for PSG back in 2017-18, Mbappe's current 23-24 campaign is the lowest XG he's recorded in terms of goals per 90. And it gets more confusing when you realise he's shooting more. Mbappe had taken 29 shots in total this season, ranking him in the 90.69%. For context, Robert Lewandowski, the leading top scorer in the league, has a shot conversion rate of 38.89%. Proof that he's been more clinical with his chances, while Mbappe hasn't been at the same par. So what can both Mbappe and Real Madrid do to change the situation? Well, they both need to understand and realise that there's currently a problem.
Kylian Mbappe doesn't show up in the next games, and then I'm talking about scoring, 16, being a threat every single time.
Luis Garcia here best sums it up. Kylian Mbappe needs to understand his teammates better and the pattern his game. In his case, the luxury of time isn't there, and he's been rightly pointed out. They're dealing with a guy who rejected Real Madrid just 2 years back. When all of that gets factored in, and the fans begin to complain about the slow results, they'll turn on somebody, and don't be surprised if it ends up being Mbappe. From a playing perspective, Mbappe needs to understand what it means to play in the number 9 position. It's not just about making runs in behind. He needs to take pages off what Karim Benzema was at the club for years, dropping deep to link the play, holding the ball out for his teammates to arrive, clever runs as well. He has played with some proper number 9s over the years, from the likes of Olivier Giroud to Edison Cavani, Mauro Icardi, Karim Benzema, and Radamel Falcao. Now he needs to be one of them. On the part of Real Madrid, well, his teammates won't be doing him any favours if they continue playing like this. Honestly, Real Madrid misses what Toni Kroos used to bring to the club, and it's evident for everyone to see. A player who used to dictate the tempo in midfield, and more importantly, for a player like Mbappe, a player who could spray long passes and thread balls in time with attacking runs. They don't have that at the moment now. You look at what's going on in midfield, in that position. Aurelien Tchouameni, with all his attributes, and what he could turn out to be, doesn't strike as a Toni Kroos type of player. Eduardo Camavinga doesn't either, neither does Jude Bellingham or Federico Valverde. As much as he's adjusting to them, the team needs to adjust to him. I mean, yeah, he was caught offside, but if some of these balls and passes had come in quicker, it might have been different. For all that's been said so far, it's easy to forget that we're dealing with a player who's notched up double digits already in terms of goal contributions this season. While the eye test debate has been poor from Mbappe, on the stat test he's doing okay, which makes it even more confusing. It's still very, very early to label his time so far at Real Madrid as a downgrade or flopping, because there's still a long way to go in the season. But if he wants to be anything like he was at PSG, Mbappe needs to understand that he's in a tougher league and as a result, step up his game. While he's been below average, over in Barcelona, a new signing has been impressing week in and week out of the club, and he's already showing signs of what is to come under new management too. Click the next video to find out the hidden truth about Dani Olmo nobody is noticing.